Power is not inherited. It is taken, built, concealed, and protected. And most of all, it is defended not against enemies, but against allies who no longer need you. The first law of survival is this: destroy their leverage before they even realize they hold it. You do not wait for betrayal. You erase the conditions that make betrayal rational. You do not plead for loyalty. You architect a world in which disloyalty is suicidal. Control is not maintained through trust. Trust is ornamental. Power rests on fear made elegant, dependency made permanent. They must fear the consequences of acting without you, and yet believe they are acting freely. That is the art. That is the weight of command. You do not offer your neck to the knife of reciprocity. You calculate what they desire, and then you make their access to it contingent on your survival. That is not cruelty. That is equilibrium. The moment they can imagine life without you, life better without you, you are already overthrown in spirit, if not yet in name. Every confidant is a conditional threat. Every subordinate is a seed of defection. Every friendship, a wager against future convenience. What they know, what they see, what they could say, these are liabilities, not comforts. Sentiment is not protection. Memory is not loyalty. Utility is. The intelligent ruler does not inspire love. He inspires necessity. He does not ask to be obeyed. He becomes the axis on which others' ambitions spin. Remove him, and their world collapses. That is security. If a man has something on you, information, access, a hidden grievance, you do not wait for the moment he chooses to use it. You move first. You bury it, distort it, neutralize it. You strike, not out of anger, but out of strategic hygiene. Fear is the most loyal servant, but it must be installed with precision, not violence. You do not brutalize, you condition. To destroy leverage is not merely to take away weapons. It is to reshape incentives, to alter the terrain of rational behavior. A wolf does not fear the rabbit, but neither does he let the rabbit know the path out of the forest. So too, you do not fear the subordinate, but you do not allow him the illusion of self-sufficiency. You must appear replaceable to them, yet irreplaceable in effect. Invisible in blame, yet omnipresent in consequence. The center of a web that can be neither untangled nor escaped. Information is the battlefield. Reputation is armor. Secrets are currency. Silence is strategy. Speak little. Listen surgically. Let them speak. The more they speak, the more they bleed. The more you know, the more invisible wires you can thread through their future. Never forget, leverage is not just what they hold. It is what you fail to burn. Do not allow them to accumulate favors. A favor is not goodwill. It is a noose braided with memory. If you must give, do it with spectacle, but strip it of permanence. Be generous in gesture, but cruel in contract. Nothing is given without tether. Every exchange is a chain. Destroying leverage is not loud. It is not dramatic. It is not war. It is the art of absence, the removal of alternatives, the quiet erasure of paths that do not pass through your hands. What is a secret? A future weapon? What is loyalty? A function of cost-benefit analysis. What is betrayal? The moment someone calculates that removing you is less dangerous than tolerating you. So you fix the equation. You make tolerance cheaper than defiance. You make silence more profitable than exposure. You build dependency so intricate they cannot see the exit, even if it's open. You are not their friend. You are not their jailer. You are their necessity, and necessity rarely provokes rebellion. Do not fear the knife in their coat. Fear the day they believe they no longer need to hide it. You must never ask, will they betray me? You must ask, what incentive have I left them not to? A ruler who governs with morality alone is not ruling. He is gambling, and when the moment comes, when the knives are weighed in the dark, when the futures are mapped in private, morality will not protect him. Only leverage will. This is not paranoia. This is the architecture of rule. If you wait until the threat becomes visible, you've already lost. Destruction must be preemptive, not reactionary. You do not react to fire. You remove the oxygen. To command is to isolate vulnerabilities, not in yourself, but in others. You must make their security depend on your survival. You must see where their leverage could grow and cut the root before the shadow even appears. Power is not held, it is constantly seized, daily, hourly, in conversations, in silences, in what is said and what is strategically omitted. A ruler thinks 10 moves ahead, but a true strategist erases the board before the game begins. You will not be loved for this, but love is unstable. It withers under pressure, it decays with time. Fear, rightly engineered, is renewable, and necessity, it outlives sentiment. This is not cruelty, it is realism. Mercy has a cost, trust has a price. Every virtue you allow yourself must be measured against the leverage it surrenders. The modern world is a theater of influence, and every actor is armed. So you strip them of costume, you rewrite the script, you control the stage. And before they speak, you've already chosen their lines. To lead is not to inspire. It is to construct realities in which disobedience becomes illogical, not impossible, merely unwise. And when the time comes, when the air thickens with uncertainty, and eyes scan for weakness, and old allies become potential threats, you will not flinch, because their leverage was dismantled before they knew it existed. That is how you survive. That is how you rule. That is how you destroy their leverage before they ever dare to use it. You cannot afford the luxury of sentiment. The moment you begin to confuse personal affection with political necessity, you have surrendered the high ground. Affection breeds expectation, and expectation becomes entitlement. Entitlement is the soil in which rebellion takes root. If they believe you are soft, they will test you. If they believe you are principled, they will predict you. But if they believe you are governed by calculation alone, they will hesitate. Hesitation is your ally. You must cultivate it in them as carefully as a gardener cultivates thorns around a rose. Let them never be certain of how far you will go. Let them wonder what price they might pay for the smallest misstep. That uncertainty is worth more than any promise, more than any alliance. It is the invisible fortress in which you reside. A ruler's first enemy is not the outsider. It is the confidant who knows too much. It is the advisor who has seen your weaknesses, the friend who has shared your secrets. These are the ones who hold invisible daggers. Not all will strike, but enough will consider it that you cannot indulge trust without cost. The only trust that endures is one cemented in mutual vulnerability. If they know something that could destroy you, ensure you know twice as much about them. If they whisper of your faults, ensure they are screaming of their own in silent rooms of their mind. You do not need to threaten them openly. A well-timed silence can weigh heavier than 1,000 threats. A small reminder of what you know, what you hold, what you could do. This is the subtle art of making betrayal unattractive. There is no such thing as permanent loyalty. There are only interests that, for a time, align with your own. When those interests diverge, when the scales tilt, those who once swore eternal fidelity will shift like sand under your feet. You must watch the ground constantly. Do not mistake their smiles for affection. They are often rehearsed. Do not confuse their obedience for faith. It is often expedience. People will serve you as long as you are useful, as long as you embody their ambitions or shield them from their fears. The moment you cease to be necessary, you become an obstacle, and obstacles are removed. It is tempting to believe you can inspire love so deep it transcends calculation. That temptation is a snare. Love is not fixed. It is mercurial, shaped by circumstances, undermined by time, eroded by self-interest. Fear, by contrast, is elemental. It does not require maintenance. It requires only the memory of consequences. Fear ensures that even when they hate you, they hesitate. Even when they resent you, they obey. And even in their darkest hours, they calculate that destroying you would cost them more than enduring you. This is not tyranny. It is survival. To destroy their leverage is not to make enemies of all around you. It is to shape a system in which their power is refracted, divided, diluted. A single subordinate with too much autonomy is a hazard. Two subordinates competing for your favor is a safeguard. Divide them gently, invisibly, so they see rivalry where there is none and allyship where there is danger. Let them believe they are playing their own games, even as you move the pieces. Power flows like water. If you do not channel it, it will find its own course and drown you. A leader who hesitates to act preemptively out of moral discomfort is already cornered. Morality is a story we tell ourselves when we are safe, when we are exposed. When the knives circle in the dark, only clarity remains. Clarity is merciless. It sees betrayal where others see friendship. It sees leverage where others see loyalty. It sees the game for what it is, not for what we wish it to be. The ruler who survives is not the one who trusts blindly, nor the one who suspects everyone equally. He is the one who discerns which threats are embryonic and which are immediate and eliminates them in the womb. You must never let them see you bleed. A single display of weakness invites tests of strength. Even your allies will probe for vulnerabilities, not because they are inherently treacherous, but because opportunity is seductive. Do not fault them for this. It is human nature. Instead, fault yourself for allowing the opportunity to exist. A ruler's strength lies not in omnipotence, but in perception. If they perceive you as invulnerable, they will not seek your vulnerability. If they perceive you as eternal, they will not hasten your end, appear inevitable, and they will accept your rule as they accept gravity. Consider reputation as armor. Once pierced, it is almost impossible to mend. Guard it ruthlessly. Allow no narrative but your own to define you. If rumors arise, bury them before they flower. If scandals threaten, expose them yourself in a form you control, rendering them impotent. A well-crafted perception is more durable than any fortress of stone, and perception, once embedded in the minds of others, governs their behavior as surely as walls govern a besieged city. The ruler who survives understands that information is power in its purest form. What they know of you is a weapon in their hands. What you know of them is a weapon in yours. Gather intelligence constantly, not through overt surveillance alone, but through the cultivation of confidants, the encouragement of whispers, the quiet construction of a web in which no secret escapes your grasp. Do not wield knowledge recklessly. Hold it like a blade concealed under your cloak, unseen, but deadly when drawn. Ambition is not evil. It is inevitable. All men possess it, though few admit it even to themselves. Those around you will cloak their ambition in flattery, in humility, in declarations of service. Do not believe them. Look not at their words, but at their actions. Study where their eyes linger in meetings, what resources they gather discreetly, which alliances they form when they think you are not watching. Ambition suppressed is never destroyed. It waits, it watches, it plans. You must decide early. Will you feed it in ways that tether it to your own power, or will you starve it before it grows teeth? In the theater of rule, appearances are as crucial as substance. You may not be able to control every fact, but you can control every perception. Do not announce your intentions. Act and let them struggle to interpret. Mystery confuses. Transparency empowers those who would undermine you. They cannot strike effectively if they cannot discern your true position. A ruler who is easy to read is easy to betray. Survival is not a singular event. It is a process, unending, iterative, exhausting. Each day you wake as a ruler is a day you must rule again. There is no arrival point, no final victory, no safe harbor. Power is not a treasure to be hoarded. It is a current you must swim lest it drag you under. You cannot pause. You cannot rest. You can only move, calculating always, shaping the field around you so that others move in ways that serve your end. The cost of this clarity is loneliness. To see people as they are, not as they wish to appear, estranges you from them. Their laughter rings hollow when you know the calculations behind it. Their affection feels weightless when you see the conditionality beneath it. But this estrangement is the price of vision. Better to walk alone in truth than to sleep among flatterers and wake to knives. Do not mistake this for pessimism. It is the liberation of the mind from comforting illusions. It is the acceptance of the world as it is, not as we wish it to be, and in that acceptance lies freedom. Freedom to act, to shape, to endure. Freedom to destroy their leverage before they even dream of using it. This is not cruelty. This is the discipline of power. This is the anatomy of survival. This is how you endure in a world where every handshake conceals a dagger and every smile is a veil drawn over calculation. This is how you remain standing when all others fall. This is how you rule. This is how you win. The strongest hand is not the one that strikes hardest. It is the one that never has to strike at all. Force is the weapon of last resort for those who have failed to shape the field beforehand. A ruler who must punish openly has already lost a measure of control. True mastery lies in prevention so subtle that those around you cannot even imagine disobedience. You do not crush opposition with brute strength. You design the landscape so opposition cannot take root. Let them think they are free, but hem them in on all sides with invisible walls. Freedom is most intoxicating when it is illusory. Power does not exist in isolation. It feeds on perception, and perception feeds on narrative. You must become the author of every story told in your domain. Stories are more persuasive than commands. They spread faster than orders, lodge deeper than threats. A well-planted narrative will restrain your enemies and embolden your allies long before you issue a single decree. Control the narrative, and you control the battlefield without ever setting foot upon it. Do not seek to eliminate all rivals at once. A ruler who purges too aggressively creates a vacuum, and vacuums invite chaos. Chaos is a breeding ground for unforeseen threats. Instead, let your rivals remain, but weaken them incrementally. Sap their resources, divide their loyalties, erode their reputations. Let them remain as examples to others. Visible, diminished, humiliated. Their presence is a warning. Their downfall is a lesson. Your own image must be forged carefully. Appear adaptable, but never unpredictable. Appear generous, but never weak. Appear just, but let no one mistake your justice for softness. Above all, appear inevitable. Those who see you as inevitable will not waste energy plotting your fall. They will redirect their energies toward aligning with you, toward surviving under your rule, rather than dreaming of overthrowing it. You must be the axis of their world, not because you demand it, but because you have arranged it so. Leverage is not destroyed only by removing the weapons of others. It is destroyed by shaping their ambitions so they cannot conceive of victory against you. Let them dream not of independence, but of proximity to your power. Feed their aspirations in ways that bind them to your success. If they hunger, give them just enough to believe their feast lies within your gift. If they rise, let them rise only through your hand. Dependency is a more enduring chain than iron. Control is rarely achieved through force alone. Force inspires fear, but fear unaccompanied by respect is brittle. Fear must be woven with admiration, with the sense that your power is not merely coercive, but structural. They must see you not as a man, but as a condition of their world. Men can be challenged, conditions are endured. Do not believe that transparency is a virtue. Transparency exposes you to attack. Mystery deflects it. When they cannot see your hand, they cannot strike at it. Speak little of your designs. Act decisively, but let your motives remain opaque. Confusion breeds hesitation, and hesitation breeds compliance. A ruler who is easily read is easily undone. Be mindful of gifts and debts. To accept a gift is to accept a chain. To allow debts to linger is to grant others leverage over you. Pay swiftly what you owe, but in such a way that your payment eclipses their expectation. Overpay if you must, but ensure it is done on your terms, not theirs. Better to be the creditor than the debtor. Better still to create a world where no one can imagine you in debt to anyone. The mechanics of survival require a calm ruthlessness. Decisions must be made with precision, stripped of sentiment. There will be moments when you are tempted to forgive, to allow a transgression to pass unpunished. Remember that every unpunished offense is an invitation for the next. Mercy, in the realm of power, must be rare, deliberate, and calculated for effect, not reflexive or born of weakness. Allies are useful only while they remain dependent. Independence is the first step toward defiance. Monitor their strengths as closely as you monitor your own. When an ally grows too powerful, remind him gently of his position. Remove resources quietly. Redirect his energies. Give him responsibilities that sap his strength without elevating his status. If he senses the leash tightening, do not allow him time to strain against it. Act swiftly. Delay is the ally of those who would oppose you. Observe human nature without illusion. Men desire advancement, security, recognition. They fear loss, humiliation, death. These desires and fears are constant. Appeal to them not with lofty ideals, but with calculated offers. Ideals shift, hunger and fear do not. Those who profess purity are often the first to betray it when appetite stirs. Those who posture as fearless are often the most brittle when the cost of defiance becomes visible. A ruler must be prepared to act alone. Advice can be valuable, but only insofar as it does not cloud your judgment. Counselors often speak for themselves, not for the state. Their advice reflects their ambitions, their resentments, their private fears. Listen, but weigh each word as though it carries a hidden hook. In the end, you bear the cost of every decision. No counselor shares that burden. Solitude is not a curse. It is the natural condition of command. You will find that betrayal often comes from those you have raised highest. This is no accident. The higher you lift a man, the more he resents the hand that placed him there. He begins to imagine he ascended by his own merit. He begins to question why he should remain beneath you when he believes himself your equal. To counter this, never elevate a man so far that he forgets who built his ladder. Remind him often, subtly, where his power originates. Better still, elevate two men simultaneously and let their rivalry consume the energy they might otherwise direct at you. If you sense rebellion brewing, act before the storm. Preemptive strikes are cleaner than open wars. Wars expose you to chance. Preemption places chance in your hands. Remove the ringleaders quietly. Spread disinformation to fracture their alliances. Reward those on the fringes of conspiracy and isolate the core. The plot will collapse under its own weight if deprived of cohesion. Remember that destruction is not always physical. A reputation ruined is as effective as a body removed. A secret exposed, a whisper planted, an alliance undone. These are bloodless weapons that leave no martyrs. A ruler who rules through fear must avoid creating heroes out of his enemies. The dead can become symbols. The discredited vanish into oblivion. Never believe you can step away from the game. Even in retreat, the game continues around you. Your absence will invite speculation, and speculation invites plots. If you must withdraw, leave behind the illusion of presence. Appoint proxies, control the narrative, project power even when you are unseen. The shadow of a ruler is sometimes more potent than the ruler himself. Survival is not victory, it is only the precondition for it. But victory itself is a fleeting concept. Today's victory is tomorrow's vulnerability. Do not rest in triumph. Do not indulge in celebration. Each triumph sows seeds of resentment, of envy, of future opposition. After victory, the work begins again. Power is not an object you possess. It is a process you enact. Stop moving, and it dissipates. Waver, and it shifts to others. To lead is to live in motion, to outpace rivals, to outthink conspirators, to outlast storms. There is no destination, only endurance. Those who cannot endure will fall, and when they fall, they will be forgotten. Their names will be stripped from memory, their monuments reduced to dust. Only those who understand the anatomy of power, who wield fear and favor with equal precision, who destroy leverage before it forms, will remain. And to remain is to rule, and to rule is to survive. There comes a moment in every reign when the ruler must decide, will I shape events, or will I allow events to shape me? Most choose the latter without even realizing it. They drift into passivity, content to enjoy the illusion of stability while forces gather quietly around them. They mistake calm for permanence. But calm is never permanent. It is the pause before the tide turns. To survive, you must live in the current, not the stillness. You must anticipate the turn and bend it to your will before it bends you. Power never exists in equilibrium. It is always tilting, either consolidating in your hands or bleeding from them. The wise ruler feels this tilt long before it is visible. He senses it in silences, in the hesitation of a subordinate, in the soft murmur of discontent where once there was applause. These are not trivialities, they are signals. And every signal ignored is an opportunity surrendered. You do not wait for the wave to crest before preparing. You build your defenses in the still water so that when the wave comes, it breaks against stone. Dependency is the most enduring form of control, and yet even dependency must be managed. If those beneath you grow too comfortable in their reliance, they may mistake it for equality. They may forget that their security is not their own. It is a gift you have granted, and one you can revoke. Remind them, not brutally but decisively, a well-timed withdrawal of support, a calculated denial of resources, a subtle reminder of how exposed they are without your protection. These gestures are more effective than any threat because they do not inspire open defiance. They inspire quiet fear. Understand that the greatest danger to a ruler is not the obvious enemy. Obvious enemies galvanize support. They create clarity. The greatest danger comes from the invisible enemy, the one who smiles, who flatters, who professes loyalty while quietly calculating how to unseat you. This enemy is not always malicious. Often he is simply ambitious. But ambition is a kind of hunger, and hunger, left unchecked, will devour anything in its path. You cannot destroy ambition itself. It is woven into human nature. What you can do is redirect it, contain it, exploit it. Allow your subordinates to pursue their ambitions, but ensure their paths lead always through you. Make yourself the gatekeeper of their success, the arbiter of their rise. If they must go through you to ascend, they will hesitate to remove you. But if they perceive that you are no longer necessary, that their path would be smoother without you, they will strike, and they will strike without warning. The blow that ends a reign is often the one the ruler never saw coming, because he had allowed himself to believe he was loved. Love is the most fragile foundation for power. It is sweet while it lasts, intoxicating in its warmth, but love is fickle. It fades with distance, corrodes with disappointment, collapses under pressure, and when it fades, it leaves a vacuum that hatred rushes in to fill. Fear is less graceful, but it is more durable. Fear is immune to disappointment. Fear does not require maintenance. Once installed, it lingers even in your absence. Do not misunderstand. Fear alone is insufficient. Fear without respect breeds desperation, and desperate men are dangerous. Fear must be tempered with utility. They must not only fear the cost of opposing you, they must see benefit in your survival. Their fortunes, their reputations, their very lives must be so entangled with yours that to move against you would be to destroy themselves. This is the essence of leverage, making yourself indispensable. Information is the bloodstream of power. What you do not know can kill you. What they know of you can be used to unmake you. To rule is to cultivate omniscience, not in the literal sense, but in the strategic one. You do not need to know everything. You need to know enough. Enough to anticipate betrayal, enough to preempt rebellion, enough to ensure that no one can surprise you. Secrets are weapons, but they are also liabilities. Guard yours as you would guard a fortress. Speak only when necessary, and even then, speak sparingly. A single careless word can cascade into ruin. Control the flow of information as tightly as you control the flow of resources. Let them know only what you choose to reveal, and ensure that what you reveal serves your purpose. Mystery is a shield. When they do not know your true position, they cannot plot effectively against it. Do not imagine you are immune to corruption. Power does not purify. It decays. It breeds arrogance, complacency, a dangerous belief in your own invincibility. The ruler who believes he cannot be overthrown has already begun to fall. You must remain vigilant, not only against others but against yourself. Question your own impulses. Scrutinize your own pleasures. Discipline is not merely the subjugation of others. It is the subjugation of your own weaknesses. It is tempting to believe you can create a system so strong it will survive without you. This is the great illusion of statesmen. They imagine their reforms will endure, their institutions will hold, their successors will preserve their legacy. But systems are fragile. Institutions are tools, not sentient guardians. They will serve whoever wields them. The moment you release control, you invite entropy. A true ruler understands this and accepts it. His goal is not to build permanence, but to prolong dominance for as long as he breathes. There is no final victory in power, no moment of absolute security, no plateau from which you can survey the field and declare it won. Power is a living thing. It must be fed, tended, defended. The moment you pause, it begins to wither. The moment you relax, others begin to move. Survival requires motion. Endurance requires paranoia. Not a blinding paranoia, but a sharp, lucid awareness that everyone around you is calculating as you are. When you sense that your hold is slipping, act decisively. Do not wait for absolute proof of conspiracy. By the time proof arrives, it is often too late. Suspicion is not weakness, it is armor. Strike before they are ready. Disrupt before they are organized. Remove before they are emboldened. A single preemptive act can prevent 1,000 open battles. There is no virtue in being loved after you are gone. History praises many rulers, but most were praised only because they no longer threatened anyone. Better to be feared while alive than sanctified in absence. The dead cannot rule. The forgotten cannot return. To endure is the highest achievement of all. You must destroy their leverage. Their secrets, their alliances, their ambitions, burn them before they take shape. It is not enough to defend against attack. You must erase the conditions in which attack becomes possible. Let them look at you and see not a man but a wall, unassailable and eternal. Let them dream of rebellion and wake in cold sweat. Let them imagine freedom and feel only chains. Not chains of iron, but chains of necessity, chains of fear, chains of dependency, so complete they mistake them for liberty. This is not cruelty. This is survival. This is the architecture of power, stripped of sentiment, stripped of illusion, laid bare in its cold precision. And if you cannot accept it, you have no place on the throne. Better to step aside now, before they step over your body to reach their own ambitions. For in the end, there is no justice in power. There is only balance, or the lack of it. And only those who understand this truth, who act upon it without hesitation, will stand when all others have fallen. This is the discipline of rule. This is the price of command. This is how you endure. This is how you destroy their leverage before they ever dream of using it. There is no absolution for those who rule. There is no final peace, no sanctuary, no tender moment when you can set down the burden of power and walk away untouched. Power marks you. It stains your hands, hollows your heart, sharpens your mind into a blade, so fine it cuts even yourself. You may dream of rest, of handing the weight to another, of retreating into the quiet and letting the machinery grind on without you. But that too is an illusion. The moment you loosen your grip, the moment you believe the edifice will stand without your will to bind it, is the moment it begins to crumble. They will not remember the years you held the center. They will not speak of the crises you averted, the storms you silenced before they struck. They will remember only the instant you faltered, the moment you hesitated, the second you appeared human. And in that moment, they will circle you like wolves, teeth bared, eyes glinting with hunger they no longer bother to hide. The throne is not a seat, it is a blade's edge. To sit upon it is to bleed a little every day, and yet you remain, because the alternative is worse. To step down is to hand yourself over to the very forces you have spent a lifetime suppressing. To yield is to invite justice, and there is no justice but vengeance in the hearts of the vanquished. So you stay, you endure, you move with precision, with calm ruthlessness, stripping away every fragment of leverage before it grows teeth. You hold the line not because you believe in destiny or virtue or the fictions men weave about rulers, but because survival itself is the only commandment left. They will call you cold. They will call you ruthless. And perhaps they are right. But understand this. In a world where every man hungers for advantage, where every alliance is a calculation, where every smile conceals the possibility of a knife, mercy is a luxury you cannot afford. This is not about winning. There is no victory, only continuance. There is no summit, only the climb. Each day you remain in command is itself a triumph. Each day you endure is a denial of their ambitions. And if there is a final lesson, it is this. Do not wait for their betrayal. Do not ask for their loyalty. Do not hope for their love. Destroy their leverage. Burn it to ash before they even know it exists. Make them dependent. Make them hesitant. Make them believe that the price of striking you is too steep to bear. Only then will you rule not as a man among men, but as the axis upon which their entire world turns. You will not be thanked. You will not be loved, but you will endure. And in the end, to endure is the only power that matters.